The quiet village of San Clemente was known for its tranquility, surrounded by mountains and dense forests. The residents lived a slow-paced life, where the biggest concerns were harvests and local festivals. But that peace was shattered in the spring of 2015, when Helena, a 14-year-old girl, disappeared without a trace. Helena was known for her vibrant energy and radiant smile. On the morning she disappeared, she went out to pick flowers in a nearby field but never returned. The search was exhaustive. Neighbors, police, and tracking dogs combed through forests, rivers, and trails for days. However, no clues were found. To the villagers, it was as if Helena had vanished into thin air. Helena's family was devastated. After 2 years of fruitless searches, they decided to move away, unable to bear the constant absence and the sympathetic looks from the community. Over time, San Clemente tried to move on, turning Helena's case into a painful but distant memory. Until, nearly 7 years later, something unexpected threw the village back into chaos. You want to know where this story is going, don't you? Then before we continue, if you want to help our channel keep bringing amazing stories, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed it, turn on notifications to find out when new videos are posted. Jonas was a reclusive man who lived on the same street where Helena had lived before she disappeared. To his neighbors, he was a solitary and peculiar man but had never raised suspicion. In recent months, Jonas began hearing noises in his attic. At first, he thought it was mice or a structural issue, but the sounds became more persistent: footsteps, scratching, and occasionally faint whispers. Unsure of what to do, Jonas called the police. That morning, officers climbed into the attic, expecting to find only a minor problem. Instead, they found Helena. She was alive but unrecognizable. Her eyes were vacant, her skin pale, and her arms bore scratch marks. The attic was filled with old objects and disturbing drawings. The walls were covered with strange symbols, some drawn with charcoal and others seemingly scratched with fingernails. The news spread like wildfire. Helena, the girl missing for years, had been found in Jonas's attic. Neighbors gathered in front of the house, full of questions. How did she get there? Why hadn't Jonas noticed? And what did the symbols in the attic mean? Helena was taken to the hospital, where doctors confirmed she was physically healthy but showed severe signs of malnutrition and psychological trauma. For the first few days, she didn't speak. She just stared at the ceiling, murmuring disconnected words about shadows and voices that kept her there. The police began investigating Jonas, but he denied any involvement. "I didn't know she was there," he repeated, visibly shaken. Investigators searched Jonas's house for answers. In the attic, they found more than they expected: drawings of enormous eyes that seemed to watch everything, words written in an unknown language, and a circle made of stones and melted candles. At the center was an old doll dressed in scraps of fabric resembling the clothes Helena had worn the day she disappeared. The atmosphere in the attic was oppressive, and even the officers felt chills upon entering. Meanwhile, Helena began to speak in short sentences. "They called me," she whispered to a nurse. "They said I had to stay to protect them." When asked who they were, Helena averted her gaze and began humming a melody no one recognized. Helena's parents, upon receiving the news, returned to the village to bring her home. The reunion was emotional but strange. Helena didn't immediately recognize them. "You can't take me," she said. "They'll be angry." Her mother, desperate, tried to understand what had happened, but the girl seemed trapped in her own world, disconnected from reality. Meanwhile, the investigation into Jonas took an unexpected turn. The police found old documents belonging to the previous owner, Ernesto, who had lived there decades earlier and mysteriously disappeared. Among the papers were notes about rituals and occult practices conducted in the attic. Ernesto believed the space was a portal to another dimension and needed guardians to keep it secure. The community was divided. Some believed Jonas was innocent and that the house was somehow cursed. Others found it impossible that he hadn't known about Helena's presence for so long. Tension in the village grew, fueled by rumors about what truly happened in the attic. One night, Helena had a panic attack at the hospital. She screamed, "They're here! They're coming for me!" The room's lights flickered, and doctors had to sedate her. The next morning, a nurse found new drawings in her notebook. They depicted the attic, now filled with dark figures floating around her. Among the drawings was a phrase written repeatedly, "They will never leave." Helena's mystery was never fully solved. Jonas disappeared shortly after, leaving his house abandoned. The attic was sealed, but some villagers still report hearing noises from the house at night. Helena, meanwhile, lives reclusively with her family but seems connected to something no one can understand. For the people of San Clemente, the case remains an open wound. Some believe it was merely a combination of trauma and coincidence. Others are convinced there are forces we cannot comprehend. And for Helena, the attic was not just the place where she was trapped. It was where the voices found her, and perhaps never let her go. Want to know more about this story and many others we still have to share? Then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every day, a new story comes straight from our mysterious archive, filled with tales and accounts we've gathered from various sources. Cases with stories that will give you chills. Also, don't forget to share this video with that friend of yours who loves a good mystery.